Hello everyone and welcome back to the And More Bus Videos YouTube channel. I'm And More Bus Videos, otherwise known as And More Central, depending on what day of the week and what video you're watching. And welcome to Lincoln Bus Station in the Lincolnshire map. The Lincolnshire map focusing around the base core at Gainsborough, sort of recreates at the moment the Interconnect 100 service, the local Gainsborough services, a couple of short workings here and there, and in more recent times the 107 that runs a similar route between Gainsborough and Lincoln to the 100, arguably a little bit more direct, and as a result a little less frequent as it doesn't serve as many villages and stays more on the main road. Now, with recent discussions, the Optare Spectra came back up in conversation, the lovely DAF DB250 created by V3D. Now, this is R290 CVM that I believe was 166.95, I think it was, 95 and 96, a 3536. But basically, there were two of them, there were R edges, that were low floor, that ended up at Stagecoach in Manchester, predominantly on the Magic bus services. However, during their period there, they did both receive the Stagecoach and Beach Ball livery as well, and were, I believe, the only two ever to receive that. If not, it was a very, very small number of them. So yeah, in this video we're going to take this bus, and although it hasn't been to the East Midlands, I thought it would be pretty cool on the 107 to hear the DAF engine. We're going to take it on the 107 service at 3:05 in-game time. That's about 2 minutes from now from Lincoln to Gainsborough. I believe I've done more of the runs on this the other direction, so it'd be quite nice to do a northbound run again, as it has been a while since I've done one. So there we go, so that's our blind, looking absolutely spot on. And we're due to leave in 3 minutes, so we're actually doing really well for time. That makes a change to these videos. So usually when I drive the 107, I do end up running rather early, so we'll kind of have to see what happens time-wise, as I do end up doing quite well on the fast sections, and I think that will be the case with the lovely DB250 as well. There we go, that is as spot on as I'm going to get, pretty much. I'm quite impressed with that. Would have been nice to be closer to the curb, but these bays at Lincoln Bus Station are incredibly tight in the game. They actually reflect what bus stop bays in the likes of Aylesbury and High Wycombe are like. Now, I didn't think bays in real life were this tight. I was just under the impression in Lincoln they'd just been unintentional and made rather tight. However, that is not the case, and especially at High Wycombe, the bus bays during busy times can be that tight that when the bus station does get busy, they have to actually have banksmen to watch vehicles out, purely because the only way sometimes to get out is to go into opposite lanes. You have to do tight turns, and you need somebody else there to watch, as I say, when all the bays are filled up. It's a very, very strange phenomenon. In West Yorkshire, we've already had quite wide bus bays, a lot of sort of overhang clearance between bays, bits like that as well, reversing straight all the way back and then sort of going into gear and moving and turning. But in places like Aylesbury, you have to physically turn to get out of the stand, and you also have to make sure that you are in the stand pretty dead on, because if you're not, you will unintentionally, even by the odd inch or two, block the stand next door from being accessed or potentially block the vehicle from getting out. So it's a very, very strange scenario around there. Not something I've seen before. I don't think that'll do it, but I was conscious as... Oh, I had miles! I had absolutely miles to get around that bus. I'm not a fan of mirrors. They can be very deceptive. Especially with these when they're absolutely tiny. So the fleet in the East Midlands is vastly changing at the moment. Vastly changing. Vehicle batches that were once based at entire depots are now being cascaded across. New vehicles have arrived in from Stagecoach East in the form of the ex-busway Eclipse 2s that are now in purple for the Interconnect service. And brand new E400 MMCs have also rocked up in multiple parts of the East Midlands. Predominantly at the moment in Mansfield and Hull. It's a very, very interesting time. I mean, I'm doing, on the day that I filmed this, I'm actually in Hull tomorrow morning. So I'm hoping to head over with the camera before I sort of start the job that I'm there to do. Just to have a little look at the bus scene at the moment. There seems to have gained quite a lot of Trident 2s from Lincoln. And some brand new MMCs, but have then sent some Trident 2s and MMCs of their own to Lincoln. That seems a little bit of a strange thing to do with direct swap when, yes, it provides variety, but I'm under the impression it just didn't need to happen at all. So it's a strange setup. I'm predominantly looking forward to seeing the brand new buses. Sampled quite a few on my recent visit to Sheffield with Stagecoach Yorkshire. I need to head back actually to do some proper videos on the vehicle types. That's something I'm going to release in December, I think, purely because I've got that much Aylesbury and High Wycombe content that at present I don't need any more video content. However, I might actually get some video recording done in Hull, I think, as I'm there a couple of times this week. On the week that I filmed this, I'm there a few times. So the Hull depot also have some of the Lincoln 67 plate MMCs, E200 MMCs. I think the 374s, they were numbered because they were just off the numerically off the batch that Barnsley got for the 1 service to wipe out the darts. I remember going on 37452 on its like literally first week or two out in service, and it rocked upon the X10. That was an incredibly cool experience at the time, the X10 between Leeds and Barnsley. I mean, at that time, with it being a Saturday, the single-decker only stayed out for a few trips and then had to get swapped for a double-decker because the loadings were that busy on the X10 that you'd have full double-deckers going into Leeds, and occasionally you'd also have to require a duplicate bus to follow up as well. When they first operated the coaches on there, these Saturdays were that busy that the coach would go up full and the double-decker would then go up full as well behind it. Because the idea of using your week ticket, so you go Monday to Friday, you go to work, and then on a Saturday using that same week ticket or paying an extra couple of quid to get the full Yorkshire Zone one, could then be used to go all the way to Leeds, have a few drinks, and then get a late night bus back. So it was a really, really cool thing that Stagecoach Yorkshire did. It was a real shame when they got rid of it, because when they cut it down to just Monday to Fridays, that basically spelt the end of the service. Purely because Saturdays were the busiest time for the route. So making it a peak time Monday to Friday service was totally opposite to what market demand suggested for the route. So yeah, I've got quite a lot of videos planned. Unfortunately, I've not got particularly too much spare time, unfortunately. Those arrows are always deceptive. I don't have particularly too much free time that I'm actually going to spend recording. Because I've spent the month down in Aylesbury. As you'll have seen from the multitude of videos I've got some really good videos coming up from Aylesbury. So do check them out. If you want to have any, do be sure to subscribe to the Ammo Central channel too, so you don't miss out on any of them, because there are some absolute belters. And I've got some absolutely phenomenal buses in phenomenal routes, explored some amazing, unique locations for buses. Absolutely all sorts. So do make sure, if you haven't already, that you do subscribe to the Ammo Central channel, just so you don't miss out on all of the exciting content that is going to be releasing very soon. Oh, let's get a nice screenshot. Oh, I say it. There we go. That will do. As good as we're gonna get. So yeah, after doing a sort of month in Aylesbury, I've got to the stage that I do actually want a little bit of time off. Having time off isn't that bad. It just basically means that, in the nicest way possible, I've spent an entire month working in relation to the bus industry and the transport. So it's not necessarily my first high priority on a day off to then spend the entire day riding around on public transport. Don't get me wrong, I do really enjoy it. There are certain buses I've been out even today to go down and sample locally in West Yorkshire, purely because I've wanted to sample them for some time. And there are some more on the list, but it's more stuff that I'm planning to do, rather than sort of waking up every day and going, oh, I'll go out here, I'll go out that, on my days off. It's sort of like, oh no, I'll have a bit of time off. I'll have a bit of time to relax. It's quite nice. It's quite nice to relax. Quite nice to see people. Quite nice to see friends as well. Because you don't realise it's absolutely lovely being on the road. It's really nice. Tracking about, exploring different areas, and in your time off, sort of sampling the local bus network like I did. And it's really nice doing all of that and sort of seeing new areas and working in new areas. But you don't realise sometimes how much you miss people, how much you miss your social circle, stuff like that. And what's quite nice sometimes is when you come back on the odd days off, just to spend time with social circles and your family and bits like that. So thankfully, all the videos and bits that I did for Aylesbury have allowed me to do that. Allowed that there's pretty much a month's solid worth of content on the Ammo Central channel related to the Chilterns. Some of it's a bit further afield. I mean, one of the more recent videos to go up was the rail air service between Heathrow and Reading that I sampled during the day that I actually filmed 3 separate videos on. I believe 2 of which are released, and the 3rd one's going to be released. Will be released by the time this video's come out, but it'll be released very soon at the time I'm filming it. So that was a cool adventure. I had a day off. That was quite nice, full day. So I did the bus to High Wycombe, then the bus to Slough, then Slough to Windsor. I had a little look around Windsor. Mainly the Wetherspoons. It was one of the bougiest Wetherspoons I've ever been in, overlooking Windsor Castle, that I thought was pretty awesome. So I did that. And then got the bus back to Slough, then did Slough to Heathrow, then Heathrow to Reading, then Reading to Henley, and then from Henley I went up to High Wycombe and back again. It was a really cool day. I mean, it by far didn't all go to plan. In fact, I imagine very little of it actually went to plan in any shape or form looking back. However, overall, it was an incredibly fun day. Really was, because it's sampling a totally new area, it's experiencing a totally new sort of route. And don't get me wrong, there's like, I will be having a little look at the new ex-North East Arriva Yorkshire vehicles very soon, and then once all the Merseyside ones come over, I'll be doing the same with the Merseyside. And it's really cool going on the new vehicles and going on new transfers, but they are, at the end of the day, routes I've sampled before, or at least, if they're not routes I've sampled before, they're areas that I know really well. And sometimes it's really nice to have the combination of new and random vehicles in a totally different area, So a totally different area you've not been before. You know, you've heard your locations, you've done your basic research, but it's brand new areas because then sometimes other gems can show up. We've got to remember that bustimes.org doesn't have every single vehicle on it, it's every single operator. So you can sometimes get some surprises and bits like that, and that's what's really fun about it. It's sort of seeing the odd surprises, or seeing the things you won't necessarily research. And that's what made it really cool as a sort of day out. Was just exploring the new areas, especially like going around High Wycombe, for example. And I did Dunstable, I did Luton, I did the track over to Oxford. I did some of the local services around Tame, and it was really cool to do, especially then as well the local services with the local buses. The local bus preservation group made me feel very welcome as well. It was a really cool experience to sort of explore the areas. So that's why so many videos ended up cropping up, and that's why so many videos are currently going to be released. Purely because there was that much to see and do. It was daft to just spend all your time sat around in the hotel not doing anything, when you could be out sampling the different buses, sampling the different routes that, in the nicest way, I'm probably not going to return to for some time. And when I do, the vehicles are probably going to have changed, and the routes may have changed, and the operators may have changed. So it's worth doing it, and hopefully, as I say, all of the Aylesbury and associated Chilterns and Buckinghamshires and so forth videos are interesting. I really hope they are. Really hope they're cool. I hope they're as interesting to watch as they were to film, as I enjoyed filming every single one of them. They were pretty awesome buses that were sampled, and pretty awesome routes. But yeah, on the topic of videos that I do have in the planning, I do want to go and have a look at the Sheffield MMCs properly. I've been on about 5 of them when I was there for a weekend, but I didn't get time to film them. I had that much other stuff planned. I ended up even doing some driving as well, that I just didn't get a chance, unfortunately. So I'm hoping to sort of properly do a video on them, properly do a sort of an insight video, as there is quite a lot of interest with them. They are quite interesting motors in the way that not all of the vehicles at Yorkshire at the moment are A, intended for Yorkshire, or B, should actually be staying with Yorkshire. That sort of adds a little bit of a cool, unexpected twist to things. So they're not all going to be Stagecoach Yorkshire vehicles. Some of them have been set up in various different forms, and it's also for the region a brand new seat maquette. Yes, once again, Stagecoach have changed their seat maquette. The hint is it's getting more and more basic as they go, and although it is basic, I have slightly warmed to the design. So alongside that, there's also a few farewell videos to do around West Yorkshire, especially the Leeds area, that I'm going to be planning very soon. A vehicle type that quite a lot of you may not necessarily think about that much, and just kind of forget it's there. So one of those types of vehicles, and then alongside that, the ex-North East and ex-Merseyside vehicles now with Arriva. I don't get that much excuse to explore the Arriva network as much anymore, unfortunately. Something I do miss doing. I mean, back in the day when the services were a little bit more frequent in West Yorkshire, just spending the day riding around the Arriva Tempos and Commanders and stuff like that was a pretty cool thing to do. And I mean, even like what we're driving now, you'd spend so much time riding around on the Spectras. I mean, I devoted so much time to Arriva Yorkshire. We're talking scary, but we're talking 5 years ago. I devoted so much time to them about 4 or 5 years ago, to sort of sample all of these Spectras in the heyday, before the majority of them went, and we were just down to 2 and then down to 1. So they're a lovely type of vehicle. I mean, I was lucky enough to have sampled all 24 of them I went out of my way to ensure I went on all 24. Bizarrely, the last one that I needed was, or the last two was 700 and 702. I'd managed to sample every other Spectra except 700 and 702 that proved the most difficult for some bizarre reason to get. I remember not being too impressed with 700. 700 wasn't a particularly exciting one. 702 was okay, but the ones that were the most interesting from memory were 711 and 714 because they had the black window surrounds that none of the others had. So they sort of they had the black window surrounds, and it was sort of painted black all the way along, and that made 711 and 714 stand out. Then 713 and 708 were in the old Cotswold stone livery to their last days. They got withdrawn and scrapped in Cotswold stone. 709 had very Olympian-like brakes, so that used to stand out. 722 and 721 were favourites. They were pretty phenomenal motors. Old X33 ones. 722 in fact survives with two-way travel in Scunthorpe. A very, very surprising revelation, but it was one of the vehicles acquired by Squarepeg. When Squarepeg sold them, we're all under the impression that every single one of them got scrapped. However, it seems that 722 managed to survive the cull just about, and has ended up with two-way travel. That I think is really cool. It was really, really nice to learn that, to be fair. 722 was one of the old X33 examples. It had the headrests and was utilised on the Sheffield to Bradford X33 service from when it was new. Now, the X33 service ran sort of Bradford, Clackeaton, Heckman White, Dewsbury, and then I believe it served Wakefield and then shot down to Barnsley and Sheffield. All in all, the route take about 2 hours from each end, so slightly longer at peak times, and depending on what the M1 wanted to do. So you could only really get one round trip in as a driver, and I remember sampling it a lot as a young'un, travelling to and fro Sheffield, possibly what made me fall in love with the place. We'll never know. But X33 was always has a place in my heart, and those Spectras do as well. Absolutely phenomenal motors. It would be nice to see one of them preserved. I mean, I'm not commenting and saying it's something that I would personally want to preserve, purely because I can't imagine owning a DAF DB250 is relatively the cheapest thing in the world, unfortunately. But it would be quite nice to see one in preservation, as I say, especially 722. As two-way travel is a relatively enthusiast-friendly operator, so it would be quite nice to see one saved with them. So it talks a lot. I assume it's. I mean, if it's that one, we're doing okay for time, so we'll just keep going. Oh, I do like the sound of a DB250. Reminds me, I need to go back to Leicester to get the last ones, last Geminis before they bow out. I wouldn't have minded there was a Gemini DB250 4749 based at High Wycombe. And during my time there, it did a small number of days out in service. I mean, we're saying in the entire month I was there, I think it went out about 4 times. 4 or 5 times. It wasn't particularly the most reliable vehicles, and as a result, I never got around to sampling it, unfortunately. Because it was always the way that the days it was out I was working, and vice versa as usual, and then it had just been about a week off the road because it had broken. The problem is when you've got a slightly elderly vehicle and it's the only one of its type, you do tend to run into a couple of maintenance issues when the vehicle breaks, because you won't necessarily have the spare parts in, or the mechanical expertise, especially if the vehicle's been quite unique for a while, or it's just transferred. So you won't necessarily have the mechanical expertise. So that's the issue with running a unique vehicle in an operation. But the Arriva list Geminis are going very soon. I mean, we're talking about a year after my farewell video. But the farewell video was pretty valid. I mean, after that, they did start to withdraw quite a few of them. You didn't realise how many they had. But they did start to withdraw quite a few of them. So it ended up being valid, especially for the heritage one, for example. That one's now long gone, so it was quite cool to feature that in that video. But it does also mean that because they're still around, next time I'm in the local area, goodness knows when that'll be. But next time I'm in the local area, it's a batch of vehicles I can sample. So not all is lost. Not all is lost. It's a very quiet route, is this 107. Hang on, I've just realised something. Let's just stop that there. Did I read the time wrong? Am I in fact 12 minutes early or something, Daft? Let's just. So what was the nearest bus stop that we've just passed? Stowe Park Road. Okay, let's have a look, because I think I misread that. Stowe Park Road 37. We are in fact 12 minutes early. Let's just put it slightly a little bit more. We are in fact 12 minutes early. So let's we'll up the time slightly, I think. Yeah, I read it wrong. I thought I was only 2 minutes early. Okay, the weather's drastically changed. I thought it was only 2 minutes early. Oh, that's messing with my eyes, is that? Oh. No, I thought it was only 2 minutes early. Turns out I was 12 minutes early. Oops. Reading it, thinking it's 35 and 33 on ticket machine when it's in fact 25. And I thought it's a little bit quiet, but what can I say? The DB250 engine is just superior, clearly. I do also absolutely love driving this vehicle in the game. It is a really, really nice vehicle to drive. It performs so perfectly. The sounding is spot on it. The interior and the detailing is just there. It's just a truly lovely vehicle to drive. Really, really is. And the problem is because on the general front, the vehicles, they weren't the most common. There's not too many repaints. That means you do tend to run out of video ideas if you're not careful. You know a bus is fast when you're catching up to cars on a national speed limit road. That's when you know a bus is fast. It's the fact that it'll accelerate on hills as well. I'm not I've not driven a DAF. I'm not relatively, or a DAF DB250 should I say. I've driven a VDL, but I've not driven a DB250 in real life. I can't particularly comment on how good it is on hills. I would say I've been on some that have been really good, some that have been really bad, but I've never been at any at sort of this speed, so I can't particularly comment on how well they'd actually do. I think we're going to end up early at the next timing point again. And we've got all of 3 passengers on the bus. It could be worse. 3 passengers. Although I tend to find the AI passengers on this 107 mostly go end to end. You never really see that many in between. I don't know if that's to do with me even 12 minutes early, but we're going to ignore that. But you never really see that many in between on even the runs that I haven't run that early on. Really, you tend to just mostly carry end to end. Don't know if the same thing reflects in real life, where people tend to only go from Lincoln to Gainsborough on it. But as it only serves a small handful of villages, you spend most of your time sort of on these kind of roads. I could quite understand why it is an end-to-end kind of route more than anything else. And we're in Lee Green. Oh, we'll nearly be at we're in Lee, we're nearly at the green. Possibly a better way to put it. How early are we at Lee Green? Only 2 minutes. I'll still bobble the time up though, because it'll possibly do us some good. Not running mega early. Oh, that actually looks quite nice. I like that. That actually looks quite nice as a screenshot. I like that. I bizarrely like that. So yeah, sort of in between all the shrubbery. And there we go, we're due back in exactly 10 minutes, although I imagine we'll get there in about 7. See, it's the limiter on this is about 66, 67. It seems to just be absurdly high. Like I am trying to actually look at where we're going in game versus the speedo. That's a bit difficult. And there was also a little dot on the screen as well that needed wiping off. So little bit of fluff that we're following the speedo as it was. That I thought was a limiter light, but it was actually just a bit of fluff. But yeah, it seems to limit about 67, 60, 66, something like that. Very, very high. So it's not something you get to do in real life. It's sort of see purely how fast these buses go in game. You only get to do it in game rather than real life. I would imagine that's for the safety of all. Very much the safety of all. However, it's also quite nice to respect that the sounds have been replicated to sort of do it so you can see that as well. So it's not like all the vehicles in game are limited to 45, as that would be quite boring and a bit dull, let's be honest. Right, and then unlike the 100, we just go straight on. I have also forgotten to put the arrows back on, but we do go straight on into the centre. Unlike the 100 that again goes into another estate. I do feel like these routes are a little bit backwards. I feel like they should be the opposite way around, and they should be advertising the Scunthorpe to Lincoln service as a direct route rather than being the longer service. I mean, if passenger numbers and things reflect it, and people getting on and off at villages is reflected of that, then that's fair. But if not, if it's more just end-to-end passengers, having the routes the other way around would definitely be a benefactor. And I did say about 7 or 8 minutes. However, it appears it has only been 3 minutes since I said that. We have arrived into Gainsborough bus station. What can I say? The DB250 is powerful, too powerful. And all that talking of the old fast motorway X33 just got me rocketing it round the route. It has in fact only taken us 44 minutes to do the entire route. Yeah, there's a lot of too earlys on that board. A lot. They're not getting off. There we go, that'll get them off. So they've got all the way to Gainsborough, and they've got here and thought, no, I don't want to get off here. So there we go. So that was the lovely 107 service with the absolutely tremendous DAF DB250 Optare Spectra. A thoroughly enjoyable run. I'm very glad I chose that bus for that route. I really enjoyed that. If you have also enjoyed the video and enjoyed watching it, do be sure to click that like button so that more people can find it and enjoy like you have. And if you haven't already, do be sure to subscribe to the And More Bus Videos YouTube channel for more content like this from the simulation section twice a week on the channel, as well as an archive of over 6,000 backseat and engine-focused public transport videos from the UK and beyond. With buses, trams, trains and more, there's something on there for everyone, with additional 21 videos added per week on top of the 2 simulation videos as well. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed this one, and I will see you all in the next video. Mate, goodbye for now. Bye.